am sure of that. Do you care to mention anything about the Bronze Star? Sometimes this is not something someone wants to talk about, and if you prefer not to, that's fine. But I just want you to know this is a Bronze Star veteran, and I'm very proud to have you, Jimmy, with me. And I'm wanting for all of you to pay close attention. This is someone who has made a great contribution to our community, to our country, and to all that are concerned. And I'm very proud of you, and many of us are. And I do know that at that time, not everybody in our country showed this. And I just openly want to apologize and repent for those who had no better understanding than what they did. But we want you to know we think you're pretty special. And I want you to feel free to talk about anything that you experienced. I want you to be able to tell our people what it's like to be in service. What is it like to have family and friends that are supporting you? And
well, that means a lot to you. Looking for the letters, the little packages from time to time, and knowing that there is somebody there when you go back home. And then, like when I came back from Vietnam the first time, we came into San Francisco, and people looked at you and they kind of shied away from you. Some spit at you, you know, things like that. And you just had to overlook it and say, well, that's what they believe. But, you know, I forgive you for doing what you're doing.
And that's magnanimous too.
Right. And now I feel pride in myself and the people by the way that they treat our troops when they come home now.
I would hope.
Yeah, so.
Do you feel as though our country has made up somewhat for this terrible error that they made when the troops from Vietnam returned? Or is there still something yet that needs to be done in your mind?
I think there's still something that needs to be done because nobody wants to talk about Vietnam. You know, it's like a bad subject.
That's right, and only when we are able to openly discuss something does it take the stigma away from it. We need to give honor where honor is due, and all of our men need to know that they are honored, you know, and you all confronted a great deal. You fought a big battle and you came back and fought another one.
Yes.
And it took a long time, I'm sure. How did your family feel about that?
They, like my mom, she's 88 years old now.
Oh, is she?
And she still doesn't know what I did in Vietnam. So,
but she was proud. She had 2 boys over there.
actually, it was 3 of us.
3 of you.
Yes, my youngest,
your younger
brother, he was in the Marine Corps, and he went over there right after I came back.
My.
So, all 3 of us went through Vietnam.
Well, did you run into all 3 of you get connected over there?
No, just me and my oldest brother.
Just you and your oldest brother.
The time I was there, I was in the hospital one time at Cameron Bay, and my brother-in-law was stationed in the Air Force at Cameron Bay, and where I got to where I could leave and all that, he would sign me out and take me over to the Air Force base and
Did he really?
give me some Air Force chow instead of the Army chow.
See, that alerts me because we were Air Force. I had nothing to do with all of that. But anyway.
You know, the Air Force, they had like steak and eggs, and where we had powdered eggs.
Now, I had heard stories like that, but I didn't realize that it was really true.
Oh, it's true.
It's true.
It's true. It's like leaving from the country into the city from the Army Air Force, yes.
But my gracious, that was 4 of you in your family that were over there.
Right. And 3 of us at basically the same time.
At the same time. Well, that is so great. Well, now, does your mother still live in Caroline County?
Yes, she does.
And is your father still living?
My father passed away in 1981.
Okay. And so how many children were in your family altogether?
4.
4 of you?
Yeah, 3 boys and a girl.
My gracious me. What would you tell some young people today in regard to service? What would you offer to them as encouragement in regard to their thinking about our country and the whole situation?
Well,
that's a big.
To me, it's the best thing that I ever did, because first of all, it gave me a chance to see places that I would have never seen before.
Mm-hmm.
I have traveled all over the world and have seen some beautiful places. Now I'm getting a chance to go back to some of them that I went to a long time ago and see the changes in the last 20, 25 years.
Oh, so when you go to China, are you planning to do a tour through there?
I am trying to get a chance to go back to Vietnam now to see.
Are you really?
To see if I can, but
that's great therapy, you know.
Yes, but there's a lot of red tape involved in that,
mm-hmm.
not only with our government, but with their government too.
So. Now that would be in, well, okay, I'm going to get the countries mixed up. I'm thinking Korea, but it's Vietnam, so it's different.
Right. But I would tell any young person, go into the military, see the world, get the benefits that they get now,
mm-hmm.
the schooling that you can get.
That schooling is wonderful.
That schooling is great. It teaches you a great trade, and you can do whatever you want to do once you get that.
Mm-hmm.
It just opens up the world for you.
It surely does.
Yes.
I can remember say that my husband would talk to the 18-year-old airmen, and he would counsel them on what to do. And some he would say stay and get your schooling. Others he would let whatever seemed to be suitable. He just seemed to have a knack for talking with them, and of course we were way out there in the West, you know, away from everything, but he was able to just chat with them and kind of guide them in what to look for and what to get out of the benefits that the service had to offer them at that time. And then I think it was all voluntary. When did all this requirement of recruitment end? I don't really recall.
The Army started making changes in about 1972 when I saw the changing started.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, I was stationed at Fort Dix, New Jersey as a drill sergeant, and
I bet you were a tough drill sergeant.
Well,
and you looked the part whether you were or not.
I was tall. I was real slim.
Uh-huh.
They used to call me Jackrabbit because I was so fast running, and lost my train.
What you were doing up there as a drill sergeant, because
yeah,
I said you were a tough one.
We got them coming in off the bus right from home, you know, with the long hair. And then about 1972, you stopped getting the draftees and
started getting the volunteers.
Started getting the volunteers. And
it was a difference, wasn't it?
It was quite a difference. And you actually saw the change in the style of the military, where a sergeant couldn't do certain things to somebody under him, so on.
Okay.
And you had guidelines you had to follow more strictly.
Okay, okay. I saw an interesting picture, an article in the Military Officers magazine where they were doing the exercise, and what do you call it? PT. They say it's off base as well as on base, and here's this picture of a sergeant. He's down on his knees and he's yelling at the guy doing push-ups, and I thought, And this, when you said you were a drill sergeant, I thought, I could see you doing this. Were you really tough? You made them think so.
I tried to be.
I bet you did.
I basically looked back on how I respected my drill sergeant and tried to gain the same respect from them.
Okay. You emulated him because he was really tough on you.
Oh, he was tough. He was about 5 foot nothing, and he was everything, though.
Yeah, but he was going to
Yes.
let you know that he was big,
Yes.
even in that 5 feet, huh? Okay. Well, this is interesting. And of course, it's interesting to me because I've had exposure to the military life. But for those who have not had any exposure to it, I think this is such an awesome opportunity for anyone in our day and time. And particularly now, we have all those volunteers who are overseas in Afghanistan and Iraq and even in Kuwait and some of the other locations. If you had it to do over again, Jimmy, would you do it?
Yes, I would probably make a career out of it if I had to do it all over again.
You see, that's very positive. That's good. That within itself is getting you to know the benefits, the quality of life, and what one can make of himself when we're in the service. Our camera is running down, Jimmy. Would you stay with me to do a little further talk in
Sure.
regard to this? All right. I just want to be sure to extend to you who are watching, if there be any of you who have not made Jesus Christ your Lord and Savior, I want to give you the opportunity to receive Him now. If you ever wanted a friend, or if you ever needed a friend, He's the one that you should become acquainted with. And I'll assure you, He wants to get to know you more than you do Him. And if you think your life is as good as it'll ever be, then you go right ahead. But if you'd like to see some changes and improvements and become something that you can't even imagine, then do ask Jesus to come and live in your heart and to make Himself real to you, because He desires to prove Himself to you. And it's a very simple thing to do. And I promise you, your life will never be the same. And isn't that the truth, Jimmy?
Absolutely.
You don't necessarily want to wait until the pressure or the tension or the squeeze gets on you, such as it was for Jimmy and some of the other young men that were in the war, before you find out what you really believe. Why don't you ask yourself right now, what do I believe? What would I like to know? And ask the Lord to help you. And one of the things that I find that it's so neat to say is just to ask the Lord, who am I? And you know what? He wants to tell you who you are, and He will do so. And that's one thing for sure, He's talking to us all the time. We just need to listen. Thank you so much for having us into your home tonight. We look forward to being with you next week. Have a great time. Bye-bye.